find me in a top secret location at Maranello in the Ferrari factory in Italy. This is the middle of April, but you're going to be seeing this video in the early part of May. And that's when this, the brand new V12 model from Ferrari, is going to be unveiled to the world during the Miami Grand Prix weekend. And you'll have to bear with me because we've just gotten out of a 2-hour product presentation on this car. So I've got my notes, I'm going to walk you around it, and I'm going to show you this absolutely stunning brand new model from Ferrari. First thing I can say is just look at it. It is bellissimo. It is absolutely beautiful. Now, if you can be lucky enough to afford the brand new V12 Ferrari, you're going to have to learn to pronounce the name correctly. So, to start with, it's called the Dodici Cilindri, which effectively is 12-cylinder Ferrari. Now, some of the notes that I've got on my notepad from the presentation: heritage, tribute, symphony, emotional, work of art, act of love, connoisseur, purity, because nobody does product presentations quite like Ferrari. So those are just some of the emotions that come to the fore when you look at a brand new model from Ferrari. And this isn't just any new model. This is a brand new 12-cylinder Ferrari. There aren't that many new 12-cylinder cars that are introduced to the world today. Look at that wedge shape from the front. It is absolutely stunning. And what it reminds me of is the 365 GTB from 1967, the Ferrari Daytona. Of course, this is a modern interpretation. It's a wedge shape. There've been words used like space age, and it is absolutely stunning. Now, I've been lucky enough in my life to drive a Ferrari Daytona, and I can only hope to get behind the wheel of the brand new V12. But just look at the front. It is absolutely stunning. I mean, I don't even have the words to describe it. Some of the phrases, again, that were used, Flavio Manzoni, who's the designer, says, "It's born from a dream." Jean Maria, who is the engineer, says you need to test a V12 at least once in your life. Otherwise, it's not a life. So, for all you EV proponents out there, I'm assuming that you have never driven a V12, because if you have, then it literally changes your life. So, let's walk around the car briefly. Look at the side profile. It's clean, it's purity of lines, and yet it's got these really muscular haunches. So muscular haunches in the front, beautifully sculpted muscular haunches in the rear, a really sharp, clean character line that runs the length of the car. Brand new designed 21-inch rims. These are machined from a single block of metal. Now, we are in the Motor Valley of Italy, and what they know how to do in this part of the world is metal work. So it's shaping these beautiful creases in this aluminum body. It's crafting these incredible looking 21-inch rims from a single block of metal. But then they also know how to do stuff with new age materials. So of course, you've got carbon ceramic brake discs. And I mean, just every inch of this car looks absolutely stunning. 315, 35, ZR, 21 rear wheels. Okay, I'm going to go back to my notes and we're going to go over some of the specs of the car. But before we do that, they showed us videos, and Enzo Ferrari, in a video, Enzo Ferrari says that the V12 is the original Ferrari. Everything else is just a derivative. So again, we come back to the heart and soul of this machine. Cofango bonnet, so it's a massive one-piece bonnet that opens this way to unveil a 6.5 liter V12. Let's get to the specs. First thing you need to know is 128 horsepower per cylinder. That is the specific output of this engine, which is absolutely spectacular. It revs to 9,500 RPM, 830 horsepower, 678 Nm of torque at 7,250 RPM. 80% of the torque is available from 2,250 RPM. They have titanium conrods, reduced the crankshaft weight by 3%. I mean, to live in a world where a manufacturer like Ferrari is developing a brand new V12 is a world that I am very, very happy to be a part of. This is an unveil that I'm very happy to be a part of. Now, of course, Ferrari is developing a brand new full-on combustion engine. They're developing turbo engines, they're developing hybrids, and they're developing EVs. The first full EV from Ferrari will be available for the first time next year. But a brand new V12, I mean, that is just spectacular, and one that is stunning, cutting edge, modern, and I mean, looks like this. Just feast your eyes. Of course, it's clean in design because a majority of the aerodynamics is happening under the body. So they said there are 3 vortex generators in the front and 2 vortex generators in the back, which feed this massive, massive diffuser that is under the body. Now what that does is it accelerates the airflow from the front of the car to exit back here, which generates the majority of the downforce. Now, one of the patented pieces of design and perhaps the party trick of this car is the rear wing, which is not a single piece rear wing, but it's split into 2 halves. So you have one flap on this side, one flap on the other side, and those are the 2 that activate between 60 and 300 kilometers an hour. So you have the aerodynamics on top, which part of this brand new patented piece of design, and then you've got the vortex generators and the diffuser and the underbody aerodynamics. Now, you've also got some what Ferrari calls bad air underneath the body, and you've got good air underneath the body. So the good air is what generates the downforce, and the bad air is what extricates heat from the various radiators in the car and the engine bay. And the good air and the bad air do not meet. So it is just an incredible machine from the inside, from the outside, and also from underneath. Look at some of the pieces of design. So you've got this delta wing shape at the back. You've got a delta wing shape on the roof, and that's done to accentuate the proportions of this design. So you've got long bonnet, short cabin, rearward set, which is essentially what the traditional V12 coupes from Ferrari have always had. So it's called a V12 Berlinetta, which is essentially a coupe, and the original, the first Ferrari model, the 125S from 1946. Well, the engine was developed in 1946. It was a 1.5 liter naturally aspirated V12 developed by Colombo, who was the legendary engine engineer and the developer of the heart and soul of Ferrari, which carries on till today. That engine, which went into the 125S, is essentially the heritage that carries on today. So let's jump in and take a look inside. So this is the dual cabin design in this brand new Ferrari, and really, if I could get in, I could show you that it fits like an absolute glove. So you've got a bunch of screens, but really well integrated. You've got the cockpit here, and you have essentially what is a cockpit for the passenger as well. And it is just a stunning place to be. Of course, it's only a two-seater, but one of the reasons why Ferrari has developed the two flaps and not a single rear wing is for boot space, to maximize boot space. So this is a car that fits right in the middle of the Ferrari product portfolio. So you have the ultimate sports cars at one end, the SF90, the 296 GTB, and you've got the Roma at the other end, which are more the comfort-oriented, GT-oriented cars, and you have this, which sits right in the center. So you've got the performance, but you've also got the comfort. So if you look at the heritage of the V12 models from Ferrari, the Gran Turismos, which were of course the GT cars, but they were also racing cars, and that's the cue that this car picks up. It wants to give you ultimate performance, but it also wants to give you comfort, and that comfort is accentuated in the cabin of this car because it is driver focused, it is absolutely stunning, but it's also usable and it's also comfortable. And this is a car that is made to cover ground in absolute style, absolute comfort, and absolute performance. So, Cofango, which is a one-piece bonnet, that is absolutely stunning. And really, it's an act of theater to unveil this incredible engine. Another set of words that were used quite liberally during the product presentation was the word gem. And they used the word gem for some of the lights and the other elements on this car. But really, the true gem of this model is right here, this 6.5 liter naturally aspirated V12. Now, a couple of things to bear in mind. Just look at how far back the engine is set in the chassis. So, brand new chassis. This is the center line of the front wheels, the front axle, and if you look at the engine, it's set behind the center line. So essentially front mid-mounted, and it's absolutely stunning. Just look at that red crackle finish on the top of the intake and the cylinder heads, the Testarossa, which is red head, and everything about this car just evokes emotion. I mean, you look at the oil filler cap, you look at the cylinder head, you look at all the carbon fiber elements under the bonnet, and everything evokes emotion. I mean, you can hear the sound even when the car is turned off. And a lot of the product development goes into creating that sound and creating that emotion. So you've got equal length headers. It meets all the new emission regulations. And all I can say is this is a car that I really want to drive. So 0 to 100 in 2.9 seconds. Top speed over 340 kilometers an hour. I mean, just look at it. What more is there to say? So the engineering goal of this brand new V12 Ferrari was to create butterflies in your stomach. And I mean, just look at it. Looking at it creates butterflies in your stomach. It personifies the three pillars for Ferrari, and that's performance, design, and technical innovation. And again, I mean, to live in a world where a manufacturer like Ferrari is keeping the heritage and the heart and soul alive by developing a brand new V12. What could be better than that? And it's not just about, you could say that it's ignoring the future or ignoring emissions, but it's not, because they have used recycled aluminum in the manufacture of this vehicle. So emissions aren't just what come out of the tailpipe, but also what goes into the manufacturing process. And that is potentially a flaw that you could point to in EV development and manufacture, because the carbon footprint of manufacturing a brand new EV is far greater than a traditional internal combustion engine like this one. Not to say that Ferrari isn't looking forward. There's a brand new EV coming next year, but today it's all about celebrating the heritage, celebrating the heart and soul of Ferrari as a manufacturer, celebrating the fact that Ferrari has brought dreams to life and butterflies in your stomach for decades, and they're doing it again with this brand new V12, and I mean, it is stunning inside and out. Pretty soon you're going to hear what it sounds like, and I can guarantee you that those butterflies in your stomach are going to be absolutely exploding, because this is an absolutely stunning machine, and it really sets a new benchmark and takes everything that Ferrari has learned through all these decades and brings it to you today in the form of this brand new V12 Ferrari.